Carbon cycle. Now, again, every cycle has to start somewhere. I'm going to start with how does carbon get into the atmosphere? One thing I want you to focus on from here on out is we no longer say the word carbon, we no longer say the word nitrogen, we no longer say the word sulfur or phosphorus. We say compounds. Because if we use just the element to describe the cycle in our test, we get it wrong. So let's start with, what do you think is a compound that carbon cycles a lot as? I just showed you. Carbon dioxide. And where does this carbon dioxide travel through? Or where does carbon travel through? It does. It's in the atmosphere. Where else? Plants, which is a what? Living thing. Where else? Where are plants found? On Earth, where? Forests, which make up what? What layer or what sphere of Earth? They are the living thing that can be found on land and in water. So carbon dioxide travels through all layers of Earth. When I say carbon dioxide travels, carbon cycles in some state through all layers of Earth, I'm trying to say it can go through the geosphere, it can go through the hydrosphere, it can go through the atmosphere, and it could travel through living things in those layers. If you don't know that that's what that word means, write that down, okay? Now, how does it get into the atmosphere? Help me out and give me some answers. Burning of fossil fuels produces carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. What else? How? Breathing. Respiration produces carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. What else? We learned this in Unit 2, and it's on your next test. Volcanoes produce carbon dioxide. What else? Good. Decay of organic matter produces carbon dioxide. So waste that gets decomposed will produce carbon dioxide, or dead things, like living things, when they die and they're put on the ground, will decompose and produce forms of carbon back into the atmosphere. How else can you get carbon in the atmosphere? When you die, what happens to you? If you're where? What else can happen to you? You can get burned. So burning of organic matter or burning of biomass, not just humans, obviously, burning trees, burning of forests, which kills organisms, and burning of garbage, if it has organic compounds in, will produce carbon dioxide. All right, and also carbon dioxide can be released by the ocean. So somebody asked me how. Think of water as a universal solvent, takes in a whole bunch of compounds, and eventually they could be released back. How? Respiration of organisms can push carbon dioxide out, and it could, anyway. Here's the breakdown of carbon emissions into the atmosphere and how it comes back. So this is not on the test, by the way, that top graph, or I should point to it right here, this. But if you notice, when trees release carbon dioxide through cellular respiration, or any living thing, or it's burned or something of that matter, it almost all comes back or is absorbed by them, even more so. Same thing with oceans. Oceans release carbon dioxide, but they also take it in. So they're getting rid of that gas that's in our atmosphere that's leading to climate change. When we burn fossil fuels, they're not part of nothing of that comes back. So that's our extra output of carbon dioxide, is fossil fuels. So let's focus on how it comes back in. It's two ways, and this picture shows you what gets rid of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Trees, and what else? Oceans. Oceans will literally dissolve CO2. So although they release CO2, they dissolve more of it. So they absorb more compounds of carbon dioxide back into the ocean. When carbon dioxide falls into the ocean, it can react with what's showing there? Right here. Calcium. And it can form, by the reaction of calcium plus carbon dioxide plus water, good, calcium carbonate, which forms what? When you think of the word calcium, what do you think of? Bones. What else? Milk, right? Which helps make your bones strong. What else? You said minerals? Yes. Where are minerals found? Mainly in the ground, in rocks. So it forms shells, and then it also forms limestone. Okay? And because these are all really solid forms of carbon, carbon ends up getting trapped for a long period of time in this part of the cycle. It's like, it's hard for it to go back into the cycle once it forms shells and bones. Will it? Yes, but it takes long. So here carbon dioxide dissolved into the ocean. If there's a plant in the ocean, carbon dioxide can be absorbed by the plant, right? Because only oceans and plants absorb carbon dioxide. But I'm going to go focus on a plant inland. So here's my plant. Plants take in carbon dioxide along with what else? Light and water. And you have to know that it's 6 molecules of carbon dioxide, 6 molecules of water, and together with light they transform into glucose, which is, anybody know the chemical formula? Good job. Plus 6 molecules of oxygen. This process is called photosynthesis. And it describes carbon entering the biosphere because it entered life, the life being the plants. Or protists who are producers. I can't leave them out because they do it too. So like plant-like protists. So any kind of plant-like organism. So the next thing that happens is the food chain, which is the next slide. Animals eat plants, and what's going to happen after that? Or what can happen after that? Animal eats another animal. Or what? They can excrete waste. Or what? Or what? Die. And then what's going to happen? Yes. Our little recycling factories will turn what back to the atmosphere? What? We never say carbon. We say carbon compound. So what carbon compound goes back into the atmosphere? CO2. Good job. So all you need to know in terms of compounds for the carbon cycle are what? Name them. CO2. Glucose. We need to know about water is involved, but carbon compounds. We've got CO2, glucose, calcium to form calcium carbonate. That's it. And then you have to know the photosynthesis reaction, which is C6, what did I say?
C6H12O6.
No. C6CO2 plus 6H2O plus light yields
6
H12